Yes.
All right, good. That works. All right, so uh, welcome back. Today we're going to do a French press, kind of like with the espresso, but much different. I got mine ordered in, ground to the right type from Black Rifle Coffee Company. Most normal coffee places, if you have any local ones, like in Clarksville, we have Mugsy's and a couple of others. You can actually get it pre-ground for a coffee press. Now, technically, you can use a regular Folgers blend or something like that in your coffee press, but you're going to get a lot more, I guess, grinds coming through your cup. This is a basic, TJ Maxx style coffee press. There's nothing fancy about it. I think I spent like 15 bucks on it, and right now I have 1 1/4 ounce or 28 grams, I believe, of coffee in here. I had this heat up to a boil. I waited 2 minutes for it to cool down just a little bit. I'm not going to fill it. Instead, I'm just going to give it enough to let these grounds really kind of soak this up. Now I'm doing that so I don't, for one, that I heat up the actual glass and I don't bust it, give it up to a little bit of temperature, and two, so I can really just make sure that all these grounds get their fill. Now I'm going to stir this for roughly 2 minutes just to make sure everything gets good. And while that's going, I'm going to boil that back up. Let it sit for another 2 minutes just to get that water right down to about a good temperature. That's not going to scald the grinds or, overly do anything bad to them. Now you'll notice, you don't really have to. You could just technically dump the water and run if you want to. But I'm telling you now, you will notice a difference if you take your time. Because like all things, take time with those things that you do love, and it'll pay itself much more in the end. So we're just going to stir this for about 2 minutes. I got a metal straw here just to kind of get everything, make sure it's all off the bottom. And you can already see the crema starting to form here on the bottom. That's going to be pretty awesome. It just tells me that, everything's going to come out tasting really nice. I'm not going to get too fancy on it with the proper terminology. I do apologize for you coffee snobs. I'm not quite all the way there yet, but it's a learning process. It's working. Turn off the stove while I'm waiting. All right, it's about 2 minutes. Now, we got that going. Fill it up. Right about there. Perfect. All right, so now with this, it's going to have to set. I'm going to stir for 2 minutes, and then I'm going to let it set for 2 minutes. And the reason I want to do that is I want to make sure all the grinds kind of hit that natural bottom. But this stirring it for 2 minutes is going to make sure that none of these grounds are wasted. A lot of folks, when you use your Keurig, you'll notice that, the water gets shoved through. But if you were to ever take that and you pop that top, you'd notice a lot of the coffee seems to get missed. And sometimes the coffee, depending on the K-cup you buy, could be watered down. And it's the same with the regular coffee filter. You got to make sure, if you got the old school drip, to make sure that all of those grounds are nice, flat, and evenly spread. You don't want to literally throw your money away by just wasting coffee grounds. So by doing this, I make sure and ensure that every bit that I buy gets invested. Now, normally with a size like this, you would technically want to use 1.5 ounces to 2 ounces of coffee in the bottom. But the Blackbeard's Delight Roast is a little bit more darker, so for me, 1 1/4 or 28 grams works just fine. Anything more, and it gets a little bit too dark, a little bit too heavy, and I might have a couple jitters, after that one. But this right here, it's going to be just fine. It's going to come out just right. All right, so while we're doing this, I'll tell you a couple more coffee places if you're here in Hopkinsville or Clarksville near me. Mugsy's Coffee, ran by Chief Poindexter. Good friend of mine gave me a job there when I first got out of the Army for a month. Didn't work out too well, but he did teach me a lot about coffee. Mugsy's, when the pandemic's over, it's usually open about 5 o'clock every morning. They have a good drive-through, great coffee. You also have Plumline in Clarksville. Mugsy's has 2 spots in Clarksville. Ravenswood, I think it's called. That's another good one. Harry Potter theme, if you guys are geeked out like that. That's out there on the other side by the college. And I hear some things about King Tut's, but I've never had any of their coffee. I plan on it, but I've never had any of their coffee. In Hopkinsville, we have a couple places. The Corner Cafe is actually located in the old governor's building, I believe. I want to say that Rand Paul, his old office was across the street from the U.S. Bank, right down there on Farrell's off of Main. And there's that building. If you walk in there, it's kind of hidden. You go out to the left. When quarantine's over, I'll do a video about it, and I'll show you the ladies there that work that place. Great spot, amazing spot. We'll wait for one more minute till we pour this, and we'll plunge it and pour it and make sure everything's good to go. And there we are. So we're going to plunge it nice and slow. You don't want to throw those grinds all the way up there and get them past the filter. It really defeats the purpose of having a filter. Just take it nice and easy. You got about 28 grams of coffee that I got to plunge down here. I got to make sure it gets nice and precise. That coffee gives it a nice dark color. Everything's coming out just right. I pre-added my coffee and cream, well, my sugar and cream to the bottom of my mug here. So, not to keep you guys all that, you know. Boom. Sugar and cream, not coffee and cream, what I'm thinking. Now I'm adding the coffee and cream. Pour it out nice and slow, and at the end, if you do everything just right, have your sugar and cream already pre-added. Boom, nice cup of joe. Alright. Next week we'll probably talk more about cigars and stuff like that. So, we'll see you guys around. Take care.